Tired of standing there. He brought the grandbabies and everybody with him tonight, so we're going to have a good time. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the president of the NAACP, Mr. Frank Messiah. Okay.
As unaccustomed to public speaking as I am, I serve as I'm one of the disciples of Reverend Lewis, and I report back to him on a regular basis and ask him to monitor my behavior. I'm here to introduce a person who was a councilman at large, but he didn't get there easily. He lost the councilmanic position. But with his determination and drive, he went back into those records and those machines and found out that he was in fact elected as the councilman at large in Buffalo. The person I'm introducing is a business person, was in business for over 50 years. He's a family man. He's a deacon in the Lutheran Church of Our Savior, and he's an author. And at the bottom of at the lower part of the book that he has published, it says, "It is far more important to learn how to live than it is to learn how to make a living." And with that, I'd like to introduce Brother Bell, Reverend Bell.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you very much. You know, amazingly enough, when you're about the 15th speaker, a number of the things that have been said that have been extracted from the commissioner's bio, some of the things that Brother Bell was going to give you. But since I'm not a man that's lost the words, and I can just go right on past that and share with you some things that I think you're not only going to enjoy, but certainly agree with. First of all, just let me say that the book I've written is called A Full Life. It has to do with you serving someone else. If your life is all about you, you've missed something. And the things you do for yourself die with you. The things you do with others lives forever. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm so happy Bob Grice asked me to say a few words, and I'm going to talk to the commissioner because he's the commissioner chosen based on his ability. He just happens to be black. So you got to get out of that bag. You got to get out of that bag. Oh, he's the first black commissioner. Almost always when we gain a position, it's because we deserve it based on our ability to perform in it. You don't need to apologize for that. So I'm happy. Here's one of my little things I wrote. It says, "It's a great day to be happy. How else would I ever be? I'm feeling good, my spirits are high. Another day I will see. The life the Lord has given me with all my family and friends is a blessing of great proportions that I hope will never end. The joy that's in my heart today is one I can't explain. I'm in the bosom of Jesus, and there I will remain. It's a great day to be happy. There is no pressure on me. I have a friend in Jesus, and I'm happy because I'm free." The commissioner started out, you already heard, 26 years ago, you already heard about him going to 3 or 4 or 5 houses. You heard about him passing the promotional exam, being #1, and he's the commissioner now. Well, just let me tell you a little story about the commissioner that you may not have thought of. The commissioner started out as a selected for this future when he was in the 3rd grade, when the wastebasket caught on fire. And all the children ran out of the room, and Granell very quietly walked up and placed a big book on the wastebasket, and the fire went out. And the teacher was amazed. She says, "Granell, you were so cool. You put that fire out." You say, "What you do?" The book suffocated the fire and caused all its flame to diminish to there was nothing but a brief bit of smoke. She said, "Granell, one day you're going to be commissioner." Remember, the entire course of your life is affected by these three things: the relationships you form, the decisions you make, and the actions you take. I can tell you something. As much as I admire Granell Withfield for what he has done, I admire even more the fact that he has always kept God in front. That's very important. It has to do with the development of character. You know, you can't fool Jesus. You can fool a whole lot of folk. But here's a man that knows about prayer. He knows the power of his relationship with God, and he serves. Well, that's what firemen do anyhow. But he took it a step further. He's serving in the community and in his church. But let me tell you something. I wrote this little section especially for Granell, and some of you out there who think you did it all by yourself. I want to know, whose shoulders do you stand on? Amen. Granell, starting with your father and mother's shoulder. That's where you first and originally stood. The environment you grew in with your sister and your brother helped to develop you to be what you are today. Those are another set of shoulders. Your relationship with the Heavenly Father through prayer and through faith, and the physical and mental ability to face a whole lot of things you had to go through over the last 26 years. Your journey has been one that you have sacrificed while achieving. It wasn't given to you. You had to go and get it. But you didn't do it all by yourself. You stood on your wife's shoulder, who was your soulmate, and who you relied on for comfort, support, and inspiration. Well, the mayor saw fit to give you your first appointment, so you kind of stood on one of his shoulders. You must have impressed him. There are other shoulders that you have stood on. You stood on your children's shoulders. And you had to have broad shoulders to do that, because what you want them one day based on your character is to be able to stand on yours. The lifelong membership at Durham Memorial AME Zion Church, your pastor, your church family, who gave you their inspirational and spiritual shoulders to help you to become a better server yourself and be able to minister to those who certainly need your help. The reason you have succeeded in your career is because you realized long ago that what you do for yourself will go with you when you die. What you do for others will live as long as people whose life has been affected by you and your growing relationships will last forever. I took the word shoulders and I broke it down a little bit. And under S, I put saved. Obviously, Granell has been saved. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to do all the things he does. Under O, I put optimistic. You know, negativity is a spirit. I never hang around anybody that's negative, because I don't want it to rub off on me. I want everybody to understand that I'll have a positive outlook, and I'm always optimistic about the outcome. Under U, I put understanding. It's the only thing that really keeps you going. If you're in a relationship at all and you don't understand what you're doing, you're going to have a problem. He's in a firehouse where he's got thousands of men looking to him for leadership. A lot of them are looking for him to fall on his face. And a bunch of more of them are hoping he will fall on his face. So he's got to have an understanding of who these people are, where they're at, and how they can handle them under any situation. Under L, I put landscape. Why landscape? If you're not familiar with the landscape, you're in trouble. That means you have to look around you and figure out what's going on here and there. When you see people whispering, you try to find out what they're talking about. Because if they wanted you to hear it, they talk loud enough for you to hear. Under D, I put discipline. Discipline is a heavy word. Most of us don't have any. That's why we can't pass up that second piece of cake. We don't have discipline. But along with that, he had devotion. He had to be devoted to start from a rookie firefighter, stay with all the programs he helped develop, all the applications he filled out, all the forms and all the proposals he wrote, saving a whole lot of people's programs, he had to be devoted, because that was doing some of the things that he really didn't have in his category of things to do. Under E, I put effort. Nothing happens without effort, and you always strive for excellence. You're awful close, brother. From what I hear and what they all say about you and people talking about you, you're not perfect, but I can see you working on it. Out of R, I put respect. You know, you can never have an impact on anybody's life if they don't respect you. I'd rather somebody respect me than love me, because you hurt the one you love, but you don't never bother with somebody you respect. You think about that. That's true. And under S, I put spirit, soul, energy, and then I snuck another word there, courage and feelings. He has all of those, almost in abundance. But you know one thing? I'm impressed by the way he has stayed with his mission. And his mission here has been to serve. So I'm going to read you one thing about service, then I'm going to conclude with something else that I wrote that I feel is appropriate in this situation. Everybody can be great because everybody can serve. You don't have to have a college degree to serve. You don't have to make your subject and your verdict agree to serve. You don't have to know about Plato or Aristotle to serve. You don't have to know Einstein's theory of relativity to serve. You don't have to know the second theory of thermodynamics in physics to serve. You only need a heart full of grace, a soul generated by love, and you can be that servant. Dr. Martin Luther King. He also said that all men are caught in a network of mutuality tied to a single garment of destiny, and that whatever affects one of us directly affects all of us indirectly. And that I can never be what I am until you are what you ought to be, and you can never be what you are until I am what I ought to be. That is the inescapable reality of life. In closing, one of the poems I wrote, and I'm going to give you a book commission for you and your family, and I'm also going to give away 2 books in drawings tonight that I will autograph personally to those people whose names get selected. The name of this is Tomorrow. Now, yesterday is in the past. I'm going to let it go. Tomorrow is what I'm working for. There's so much I need to know. I'll use my deeds of yesterday as a map of things to come, not forgetting the people I love or the place where I came from. For tomorrow's goals are only as good as the groundwork of the past. And if you really want to get ahead, move carefully so it will last. For tomorrow and today are so much intertwined. If you ever are to achieve, it must first start in your mind. God bless your commissioner and your family. I wish you many happy days. James Lewis III.
Come on, give him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Author, professor, politician, and the #1. Put your hands together one more time for Brother Cliff Bell. We're here for dual reason, to honor this man and to support the Durham Outreach Center. I want to call the pastor at this time. Somebody wake him up. And have him come. Amen. The esteemed pastor of the Durham Memorial African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church. Say amen as he comes. Where all the church folk at? Raise your hand. All right.
Again, we say congratulations to Commissioner Granell Withfield Jr. We thank him for his support, not only in his community, but he is a faithful, hard worker at the Durham Memorial AME Zion Church. We rejoice over having one of the finer facilities here in Buffalo due to the vision and the hard work of the late Reverend Dr. Richard G. Stewart. And part of the vision that Reverend Stewart left for us is that if we can help somebody as we pass along, then our living will not be in vain. I believe that's what Speaker Bell was just talking about. Granell has worked very hard. We've gone through a few bumps in the road, but he has worked very hard to make sure that that vision, that building, the mission of the Durham Memorial Outreach Center is perpetuated in the lives of the people here in Buffalo. And we want to thank you for coming tonight, because Granell has already committed contributions that you made through the ticket sales here tonight. A portion of that will go to help the Durham Memorial Outreach Center. Let's give that a hand. A philosopher said, a disciplined mind and a cultivated heart are elements of power. And Granell Withfield has demonstrated that he has a disciplined mind and a cultivated heart. We thank him and the member, and I really want the members of Durham, if you're not too full, stand to your feet right quick. We want you to know, Granell, your church family loves you and cares for you, and we appreciate